Hey everybody, I'm the Ranting Monkey, and today MTV's Franchesca Ramsey is going to answer the question we've all been asking. Except not really.
Finally, we're going to answer the question you've all been asking.
What moron hired you, and which convenience store bathroom can we find him mopping these days?
Why does Decoded hate white people?
Damn it, that would have been my guess, but I know you have a token white friend, so I know you don't hate white people. You just hate most white people.
Well, we don't.
I thought this would be a good time to introduce the Ranting Monkey bullshit detector, but apparently it's broken. Through this whole video it stayed stuck on alarming bullshit. I'll have to look into it.
There's overwhelming evidence that implicit racial bias is real, and institutional racism is still rampant in America and abroad today.
No, there are statistics that can be used to paint a picture of institutionalized racism so long as you ignore all the other evidence present, which is exactly what you do and why people ask why you're such a fucking racist. It is the exact same shit you're going to do here in just a few moments.
Whoa, okay, talking about oppression doesn't mean I hate white people.
No, hating white people means you hate white people. Except, of course, for your token white friend, STD Green.
The problem is it's hard to get mad at systems and institutions instead of taking these conversations personally. When I criticize the school-to-prison pipeline, lack of police training, workplace discrimination, or our court system, some people don't want to hear it or think about it.
No. What people want is for you to be fucking honest about it, instead of skewing facts and presenting a false narrative to further divide the races, which you only do because you know race-baiting sells. Luckily, I don't even have to go search for some random example. You're about to do it right fucking now.
Let's use preschool, for example. In a study done by the Department of Education, black children make up 18% of the preschool population, but represent almost half of all out-of-school suspensions. Basically, while a misbehaving white toddler might get time out, a black toddler is more likely to get sent home and have disciplinary action on their record.
Not only did you use incorrect percentages from your own fucking source, you left out an important part. Black kids were more likely to be repeatedly suspended than whites. The study didn't separate first-time suspensions from multiple suspensions when it came to race. And look at this part that you skipped. While making up only 54% of enrollment, boys represent 79% of first-time suspensions and 82% of repeated suspensions. Obviously, this shows boys are being systematically oppressed, right?
What does that say to you?
It tells me you cherry-pick information to suit your purpose, and that you're a fucking race-baiting asshole.
For journalists who investigate these kinds of stats, they reach the conclusion that these suspensions are tied to teacher bias. In other words, teachers are more likely to see black children as threats to their classroom rather than just kids being kids.
Yeah, those journalists are just as biased as you are. That's why all the headlines from that report focused on black kids getting suspended more with no mention of it being based on repeat offense. And they completely ignored the sexual bias that was shown. If the black to white suspension ratio is a big deal, the male to female ratio is a fucking national crisis. By your own logic, boys are being horrifically oppressed. And none of your friends in the press who study this stuff seem to even give a shit. If you want to watch the rest of this Decoded video and see more of their bullshit justifications, it'll be linked below. For now, let's look at another video and see if we can't find where people might get the idea that Decoded and Franny here are a little bit racist.
Are the terms cracker, white trash, and redneck racist? I wonder who came up with these phrases.
$20 says it was fucking white people.
Take, for example, the terms cracker, white trash, or redneck.
Is it just me or does she look really happy saying those slurs?
Take, for example, the terms cracker, white trash, or redneck.
Yep, that is definitely one satisfied look coming from someone using words she knows are racially charged. Guess she just likes saying them. But even when she's being racist, she's being racist. What about us honkies, Franchesca? Hashtag honky slurs matter.
All of these terms have been aggressively used by a white upper class to insult a white underclass. While these terms have become racialized over time, they have a classist origin that goes way back.
I knew it. I knew it was fucking white people. That bitch owes me $20.
Let's start with cracker.
She seriously gets happy saying cracker. Look at that smile.
Let's start with cracker.
Now I want you guys to really pay attention to this part. She's about to explain how a word that, by her own admission, is racially charged, isn't really racist. And it's quite humorous.
While linguistic history is always murky, recent research has shown that in the 16 and 1700s, British aristocrats used cracker as a shortened version of cracked brains, or idle-headed, to disparage lower-class people as dumb and lazy. It was then imported to colonial America and used by wealthy elites to disparage poor whites. A letter to the Earl of Dartmouth said, I should explain to your lordship what is meant by crackers. They are a lawless set of rascals on the frontiers of Virginia, Maryland, the Carolinas, and Georgia, who often change their places of abode. Basically, it was a way to disparage people as lazy, lawless, and most importantly, landless, which is a hoity-toity way of saying poor. So this term was started by rich white people to disparage poor white people. It was all about them being poor, not about them being white. Hashtag historical context matters.
Historical context matters, but only the history she deems worthy of mattering. It gets better. She's going to explain how it became racist, but how that still doesn't make it racist.
The term was later used by African American slaves and Northern sympathizers as a shortened version of whip cracker, in reference to the whip-wielding plantation workers. So yes, the word cracker was racialized, but the slaves weren't oppressing poor white people by using the term because they were still slaves. Hashtag historical context still matters.
Alright, bitch, let's do this. Do you know where the N-word came from? There's no historical ambiguity here. We know its roots. It came from Latin. It means black. That's all it meant. Black. No racial aspect to it. Guess that means it's okay to say, right? Just because it became racially charged by rednecks and crackers down the road doesn't mean it's racist, does it? Speaking of racist, you know the root of that word? I'll give you a hint. It doesn't have a fucking thing to do with being oppressed. That's some bullshit race-baiting assholes like you use to redefine the word to excuse black racists. Pretending racism isn't really racism doesn't help. It hurts race relations, and it shits all over the memory of people who actually stood against racism during the civil rights movement. People think you're a racist because you are. It took less than 5 minutes of your own words, using your own sources, to show you distorting or outright lying about statistics, and to show you being very picky about when a word origin matters. You know, only when it shows white people are shit. Hashtag, you're a fucking idiot. Hashtag, you're a racist. Hashtag, fuck you. And that's going to do it for this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I am the Ranting Monkey, and I will see you next time.